I think the main message is that we're seeing hazards, a number of hazards, shocks hitting countries. Those hazards are increasing in frequency and severity as a result of climate change, which was mentioned prominently, extreme weather, for example, sea level rise and the like, but also because of patterns of economic development that are poorly risk informed, for example, building hospitals in flood zones. And these two factors are rapidly escalating the costs of these disasters. We know that disasters are currently costing something like $350 billion a year, but those are wild underestimates because they focus primarily on the really visible, large-scale disasters, whereas extensive risk, these smaller-scale disasters are invisible, and many countries don't even document the costs. So the costs are probably at least twice that large. 26 million people falling into poverty as a result of disasters each year, huge displacements of people each year from natural disasters as well as conflict, of course. So we see these costs escalating, and the key discussion centered around what can we do about this? What are we doing about this? So the World Bank's playing an absolutely fundamental role, working with partners like the UN and many others around the world to reduce the impact of these hazards so that they don't become disasters. I can give you a few examples. We are working very closely with the World Bank, the UN Office of Disaster Risk Reduction, as well as the World Meteorological Organization, two UN system organizations, with the World Bank to develop multi-hazard early warning systems, particularly for small island developing states and least developed countries, because having these systems in place are key to avoiding huge loss of life in a variety of disasters, including the ones we're anticipating to increase in frequency and severity as a result of climate change. But there are many other examples as well, including, for example, in sub-Saharan Africa, where we, UNISDR, are working with the World Bank, with the regional economic commissions, with the African Union, to put in place systems and help countries in sub-Saharan Africa understand risks and be able to use that understanding to inform their investments. You need to understand what disasters cost and how those risks are changing over time so that you can work out what the most sensible investments are. And some of them actually cost less money, not just over the longer term, but also in the immediate term in terms of reducing exposure to hazards. So there's a lot of low-hanging fruit, and the bank is playing an absolutely critical role in picking that fruit.